for a late night live edit. So I am putting on or helping put on an event um, for the PPCF, which is the Professional Photographers of Central Florida. If you live in Florida, Central Florida, and you are a photographer, you should join our guild and come hang out with us. Great group of people. But I'm working on banners for our ads for this event. And I figured this would be a great video to show you how we make these ads. And basically, the event is October 15th, Sunday, from 1 to 5 p.m. It's going to be at Skyra, and you can register at theppcf.com/events. It's a portfolio builder event, a workshop, and it's led by 4 instructors, which will have up to 8 models. So 2 models per setup. And we're going to be doing ballerina shots, dancer shots, as well as some high school athletic shots. And the idea is that you guys can come along, bring your camera, learn how we lit this, and then take the photos yourself and add photos into your portfolio and start to attract new clients. So one of the updates that I needed to make to one of the banners was make it a little bit cleaner, but also add some more of that information that I just told you on that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to open up in Photoshop one of the other banners because the assets that we're going to use are the exact same. So let's see. Let me open up. I want to make sure. Let me see here. I want to make sure my chat is open in case you guys have any questions. Type the questions in here. But basically, the portfolio, it's a portfolio builder. The ad needs to have all of this information, but we also need to fit some other information on top of it. So what I'm going to do is pull in another photo that I took at Skyra. And I'm going to try to work this photo into this ad while adding some of the other information that we're going to be providing and maybe a little bit cleaner ad. So I think I'm going to go right about this size here. And I'll select my text and my logo. I'm going to pull that over here. And what I want to do is incorporate this logo over top of the model. But what I'm going to do first is let's pull this all up front, just so it's on top of everything. And as you can see, we've got this black space here and this open space over here. And we want this photo to extend both sides. So I have to do a background extension on this. But first, what I'm going to do is I am going to select subject and get the ballerina selected. I'm going to duplicate my layer, and then I'm going to mask that off. So if I turn off that background layer, that's what I have right there. All right. So I'll reactivate my background layer. Now what I need to do in order to fill the background is I'm going to raster this layer because it's actually set as a smart object since I dragged it in there. And now I'm going to select from here over with my marquee tool. And I'm going to go edit content aware fill. I'm going to take a look at what Photoshop thinks should be there. And this is actually really good. If you don't like the way this is populating on the side, you can eliminate some of the sampling area that it's selected, and maybe it'll give you a little bit cleaner background, but that's pretty similar too. So I'm going to hit OK. That's going to make that on that side. Looks pretty good. I'm going to hold shift and click these 2 layers and then merge them together. This is very destructive editing, by the way. And then what I'm going to do is select the other side. I'm going to overlap just a little bit here. Then I'm going to go edit, content aware fill, and that's kind of ugly. It's giving me some noise down here because for some reason Photoshop really wants to sample this part of her dress. So we're going to minus this sampling. We don't want it to see any of this. And actually what I might do is hold Alt, which will turn this into an ad, and I'll start selecting some of this because I don't mind if it uses even the background that it generated before, but I want everything but the ballerina on that background. So we'll do that, and that's That's a lot better. Now, keep in mind, a lot of this is going to be covered with text. So we don't have to get too crazy with it. So I'm going to hit OK. Now that background's filled. It did give me some of the shadow over here, but again, not super important. All right, so now we have our background. I'm going to move this all the way down to the bottom here. All right, just like that. Now I got to bring our logo back in. So we've got our logo. I don't want any of the words touching the dancer because that is going to cause this to be confusing. It'll look like it just has a different feel or vibe to it. So I'm going to scale up my logo just a little bit. I want to make sure there's enough overreach. Oh, that fits pretty good. So we want to commit to that effect. We want to make sure that that effect goes over top. Josh says that this is golden. I agree with Josh. This is golden. So I need to make my room a little bit warmer for that comment as well. So when you do an effect like this, you want to commit to this effect. You want to make sure that the hand is going through it. You don't want it to look like this. It doesn't really work too well. You want to sell this effect. Also, keep in mind padding. You want to make sure that the padding on this side is the same as the padding to all your other elements. And I'm kind of breaking that rule down here. So I'm gonna wind up bumping this up a little bit as well as this. I probably like the padding on this bottom better than I like the padding over here. This might be too much for me. So I might actually bring this logo up a little bit more and then down to the left. We'll go right about there. I'm going to commit to that. Now, in the beginning, I duplicated this and had the ballerina pop on the front of this ad. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to erase part of her mask to make it appear like she is in front of or behind or intertwined inside this box. Now we are going to run into a problem. I can see it right now, but I'll show you how to fix that. So I'm going to change my brush to black, and then I'm going to brush along here, and I'm going to go up here and do that. So really the only thing that I need to exist up here is this part of her arm that goes over top. So I'm going to get rid of all of this so it's not confusing. Just like that. And I'm going to pull this on top of this gradient so there is no messing up. That looks pretty good. Pretty good. All right. Now we could move this over just a little bit, but let me show you how to get rid of some of that, make the background a little less distracting. I'm going to take a gradient tool. I'm going to sample the darkest tone on this background, do a linear gradient tool. Under basic, we'll go the background color that I chose, and I'm just going to drag this over just like that. And then on this side, I'm going to do the exact same thing, just like that. All right. So some of the information that was recommended that I add to this advertisement that we're putting out, this banner, is the fact that there are 8 models, 4 unique setups. We want to elevate your portfolio, and we want you to network with some of the best photographers in Central Florida. And again, this information over here is still really important, but we might also be able to supplement this information in the text wherever this ad will live. So if this is a Facebook post, the text, a link is actually more usable in a Facebook or post than it is on a photo where it can't be clicked. So I'm going to go ahead and so that I have my same font, I'm going to duplicate that layer. I'm going to pull this to the top for now, so I'm working with it. And I'm going to disable all this other stuff. So I have my copy pasted in here, and we're going to go 8 models, 4 unique setups. Oops. And then we're going to go elevate your portfolio and network with the best. So I'm not the biggest fan of network with the best. And so the challenge I'm having is 8 models, 4 setups, long sentence, compared to the other 2 kind of quick bullet points. So let me see what we can, maybe we can run this along the bottom. So a little trick, if you hold Alt and you type in on your number pad 0149, you will get a bullet just like that. I'm going to go to the end of this. I'm going to hold Alt 0149 and I'm going to get a bullet. I'm going to delete it and then move over, go to the end, Alt 0149. I'm going to get a bullet and then we'll do that. What if we put this along the bottom? Still kind of long. There. Let's move this out of the way for now. Need to fix our spacing here. That's pretty good. And then scale this up just a little bit. You could also make this into 2 lines so that this text is bigger. Enter that down, center, align our text, and then center it to our canvas like that. It's not bad. I don't mind that. I'm not mad about that. Let's see. Bring this over here, maybe. Maybe we can bring this down because it's not in. It's important, but it's not as important as getting people to the event. Put that there. And let's see what happens when I bring this information back in. So we can go have this all in a group. It's not bad either. If we still had this model cut out, we could put the toe over top of that, but that might be that's too many gimmicks. You should only have 1 gimmick per design. And this is what I was talking about with the padding. So over on this corner, we've got this much space from here to here. And we want to make sure that the space around everything is pretty much the same. We probably could afford to make this background a little bit bigger, as well as the portfolio and the design. So let's try that. I'm going to select those. We're going to go Workshop, Portfolio Builder, and the rectangle. I'm going to hit Control T, and I'm going to bring this up to there, down to here. And now let's move our copy to right here. And that fits pretty good. So there you go. Another ad that we can do. Now we want to save that. Control Shift S. Save it as flyer number 5. Now, some of the ads we're going to need are going to be square. So we should probably make one of those. Let me just save these out so I don't lose my work. Good. No, so Instagram, everything on Instagram, on live, it's squared photos are good. 2,500 pixels by 2,500 pixels by 72 DPI. And then RGB color space is fine. So we have our square. Now I want to pull elements over. I'm going to invert this background just so I could see the elements that I'm going to pull over. But we'll do the workshop this for just efficiency. I'm going to throw this into a folder and I'm going to call it logo. Event logo. Good. We'll drag that over. Boom. Just like that. Since this will be a Facebook post, we probably, or an Instagram post, we probably don't need all of this information. I think the most important information would be the date, and then all the other stuff they can get from the actual copy in the post itself. So I might keep this on here somewhere, right? But now we got to find a photo that we want to use for this. Would be good if it matched some of the photos that we did before. We will have athletes there, so I can use a photo of an athlete. Let me see if we can do a photo. You know what? We will have a soccer player there. I'm going to use a photo of Lucas, the soccer player that I took in studio. And this is also an example of a photo that we could take at this event, right? So let's pull Lucas over to the side real quick. Again, we want to interact with that logo. I probably designed myself into like a little bit of a corner by creating that logo that way, but I thought it would be fun to kind of tie that all together. I'll pull this up top. This might work pretty well. All right, so right now we have Lucas on here, but we also have, let me see, if we brought him over top of that, bring him to the side, might be cool if a little bit of his elbow dipped into here, maybe. I'm still concerned about a little bit of this O being on there, so, but he's about as tall as I can get him in here without squishing him. Let's try that there. All right, so now I gotta kind of manipulate this logo where I need it. Maybe if I bring this that way a little bit, we go here. Again, I want to commit fully to him being out of that logo. So close. Oh, that's pretty good. Hey, this logo might actually be pretty close to being centered too. Oh, spot on. Skills. All right. So first step is I'm going to select the subject. Photoshop does a really good job at this. No need to go in and clean this up. It's actually really, really good. Duplicate the layer, mask out Lucas, Control, Shift, and bracket brings him all the way up to the top. Now he's interacting with that logo. But again, we want the logo to go over his arm, over the front of him, so it looks like he's coming through this logo. You could do a section of this and make it look like it's weaving in and out of his arm, because this actually works pretty well. That's kind of odd, but it works, right? It looks like he's hugging it. But I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that as well. So all I did here was I took that and I just erased what I needed. All I really need is the top of his head up here, because that's the part that we want on top of that logo, right? If you wanted to get super crazy with it, you could create a drop shadow. So if you control click on that layer, I'm going to duplicate that layer. I'm going to paste in black or gray, and then I'm going to blur that, Gaussian blur. That looks okay. Now what I'm going to do is shift this to the side, bring it up just a little bit, and then I'm going to create a clipping mask on here. So that becomes that. And when I turn this on, it will look like he's interacting with that logo now a little bit more. And you can move these shadows around depending on where you want them to be, but it's only on the thing. You can also go as far as, okay, well, if he's casting a shadow onto the logo, shouldn't the logo cast a shadow onto him? So we can do that if we go ahead and select subject again down here. We then create a mask on that. And I'm going to invert that, maybe. We bring this below. We got to drop this below that. Unlink your mask. So now I can move the object. I can move the object around without affecting the mask. So the mask stays still. So if that is there, this should be here. And then we're going to blur that again. And we could probably do like a multiply to kind of add that and then bring the opacity down. And now it looks like there's a drop shadow from the logo. That's not part of the design, and I would never save that. So we'll back that out a little bit. All right, so now we have to extend this background to the left and fill in this area over here that's completely just empty. So I'm going to raster that layer. I'm going to take my marquee tool, select all of this. I'm going to go image, content aware fill. And that actually looks really good. Hit OK. Boom. That's done there. Now, there is a ton of blank space here, so it wouldn't hurt to have that other copy in here. This might also be a good spot for the bullet points, but we'll pull this over here, and we can do that just like that. Or maybe that's too big. So there you go. That's one Instagram post in the bag. I'm going to save that. We're going to go PPCF Insta 1. All right, that's saved. Let's do one more square flyer. But first, let me save this as a JPEG. Control Alt S allows you to save as JPEGs here. Boom. That's saved. All right. So we're doing athletic photos. I don't know if we'll have a basketball player, but we could. We're working on a soccer player. We have a football player committed. We've got Skyra dancers, so classical ballerinas with cool costumes, as well as other dancers that they're providing for us to work with. It is instructor-led, so each photographer can go to a station. The instructor will show you why and tell you why they set up the lights, how they set up the lights, and what they were thinking. And then from there, you guys can take over and start shooting, and they'll help you shoot and work with the models. All right, so let me erase. I know we're going to keep the logo. We're going to keep the date so far, and we're going to start from square one. What if we did this one here, this photo here? You know what? I'm not going to use that one. That one's a little misleading because it's not actually in that studio. Let's go. What if we did? Let me find a football one. Let's do a football one. If you guys have any question, let me know. Thanks, Daniel. I appreciate it. Daniel says, it looks good! Exclamation point. Thank you, sir. I don't know if it seems like only Facebook or LinkedIn messages are coming through. I'm going to hop on Facebook real fast to see if any of those comments are coming through. So my Facebook comments are not coming through. So sorry about, I wasn't ignoring you guys. So what's up, Patrick? Wayne, thank you. Wayne's going to be one of our instructors at this PPCF event. Keith says he's watching this during NFL commercials. I guess the commercials are really bad, or maybe they're only good during the Super Bowl. And then Jacob said that he wishes that I could work with him again, and I will. We will. I would have done photos for like nothing. So anyway, but we'll get there, Jacob. Just bring me in for like fun. We can just have fun. Let's just create photos. All right, so let's pull in some of these cutout photos. So I've already had these photos cut out because they were for a photo shoot that I was doing for St. Cloud High School. So we've got some pretty fun ones here, but they're also pre-cut out. So that one's that one. Let's see. We'll pull this guy in. So again, this guy already had his background cut out. Makes our job a little bit easier. We can stand him just like this. This see, this is the challenge. I've designed myself into this corner. Um, I mean, I think that's what we're working with here. So boom, just like that. Now, since I don't have to extend the background on this guy because he's already cut out, I can pretty much make up my own background. Um, and we can just have fun with that part. So we can go with a blue, um, maybe a darker blue. I did one with this guy with red that looked really good. It gets a lot of attention, but so that looks pretty flat right now. But we can add texture to that and kind of enhance that a little bit. But again, what I need to do is I need to duplicate the football player, bring him to the foreground, and then I need to mask out what I want to pop over top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Alt and I'm going to click the mask button, and that's going to create me a black mask. And then I'm actually going to take a white brush on here and then brush over top for that to pop on top like that. Now let's add a little bit of texture to this background. I'm going to add a new layer. We're going to add a gradient. We'll do a darker color here. Maybe something like I'm not the biggest fan of this new gradient tool, how they have this. I like it, but you know what, it makes it very difficult to create shadows that I want to play around with a little bit. So we could do that. Oh, we'll do that. I think it's a little bit more texture though. So let's go. Let me see what I got here. Got these concrete textures on my desktop that I could just pull in to kind of give a background feel. I'm going to change that layer to multiply and then bring the opacity down because we don't want it to be too bright. That looks pretty good. I like to also bring the attention to the center where my subject is. So I'll create, let's do a highlight on the background. We're going to do a radial gradient. We're going to change our color to primary white. We're going to select basic. And then what that's going to allow us to do is create one of these little doodads right here. And we actually want this to live pretty behind our subject like this. And then that layer to overlay, which will kind of give us the highlight pop right there. We'll actually pull this behind the texture so that the texture becomes a part of it. That looks pretty good. I'm not mad at this either, guys. I think the marathon, actually, I feel like this logo might look better sitting. The distance between the O here should also be the same here, it feels like. And that feels a lot better to me. But then we've got to fix our masking up here. So, and the reason is because only that part was masked. Easy fix, grab our brush, paint in where we want it, and now it's on top. If I turn off the background, that's what it looks like. So that's my full mask. Easy peasy. All right, let me save this one. We're going to name this PPCF Insta 2. Just like that. And then I'm going to hit save. Control Alt S allows me to save it as a JPEG. Just like that. Now, if we wanted to, hey, Michael, if we wanted to give variety to the client, let's just say this was a client of mine. We could just go ahead and change up the background for them so that they can send out varieties to people. Super simple. We just select a new color that we want. Let's go back to the blue, drop that in. That's a whole nother ad. They could push that somewhere else. Um, you could also throw maybe a sky in there or a football field or maybe this weird castle thing that I have for some reason. I don't know why I have this. Um, yeah, anyway, that's pretty much all I got. I wanted to show you guys most how to do this, but mostly to plug the event that's coming up on October 15th at Skyra Studio in Altamont Springs. The event is going to be awesome. There's going to be 4 instructors, 8 models, 4 setups. Bring your camera, bring your notepad, bring your BlackBerry and your Rolodex to like meet some people and come learn with us. I'm going to be instructing one of the days. So I think I'm going to be handling the football player and how I shoot. I'll show you guys how I shoot sports with volume photography, and you can wind up with a photo like this that's photographed the way that I shoot it professionally. So yeah, take a look at the event. The website is theppcf.com under events. And if you're a local photographer, join our guild. We're a great group of people. We refer work to each other. We give each other advice on business. And it's been an amazing enhancement to my career as a photographer. So yeah, anyway, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to keep trying to do more of these. I know I always say that and I never do, but I am going to try. So hold me accountable. All right. Thank you. Thank you.